We push the button. Once the button is pushed, it can't be unpushed. That's what I love so much about live. How we doing? There's some major things happening. I'm gonna let it breathe. I'm gonna let everyone get the opportunity to get the notifications in their stream that this thing is live. It is crunk. I've been back to Facebook in a minute, beside posting and, sharing the knowledge and the build. We're doing some massive things. It's not just, hey, come over here. A lot of people want to distract you these days. It's just like, hey, I'm over here, or we're doing this, or, we're doing that. And, you go over there and it's like, okay, we did it, but then what are we going to do now? It's like there's a lot of major events that are happening. And it's like, let's say, for instance, like the best concert in the world. Let's say everybody is there. MJ, Prince, everybody is there. And it's just this huge concert. But then after the concert, it's like, but we got to go home. So I find that, even after major journeys and ceremonies and quests that people go on, sometimes they find themselves utterly flattened by the scenario of returning back to normal reality and what's going on there and how to, get that going, metamorphosize that. And that always brings me to the point that if we don't do something that is going to assist everyone and at least getting up to one level up, because that's really all you need, just pulling people one level up, getting their top straight, and letting them see what they have constructed in their consciousness, believing that they want, so they can dig deeper into themselves and realize more of the truth, which is that even if you do accomplish that, there is going to be something far more greater, far more encompassing that has itself in line with you. It wants to communicate with you. It wants to get you to a level of being able to tune into it. And it is you, the original. Okay, so this is the word. Now you see all this, but you can't see it, right? It's like a little blurry, and I think my lighting is just a little off because the sun's going in and out, but we're gonna work with it. But these are my notes, and this is my workspace, okay? And what I'm going to show you today will answer that question that you would ask your mother or father as a kid. Mommy, where do we come from? How do we get here? Like, what is going on, mommy? And daddy may get that question, and it becomes even more complex as daddy may go into logic. Well, you see the protons and the neutrons and daddy, no, that's not it, daddy. And it's a huge bummer to start off life not knowing about your cosmic parents, because if you think about it, you do, like, imagine a child just starting off in life, and we have these scenarios with no parents, okay? Or parents that are not their parents, or bad parents, right? So let me check my sound. Because we want no room for error. And this delivery in itself it contains everything. I work in wholeness constantly. So because of that, it makes whatever is me and going on with me, it reflects through. They wake me up early in the morning with it. It's like my mind, I don't actually know what sleep is, because my mind is constantly filing and putting things in the proper order to understand what must take place in the future for us to really see in this co-creation, in this collective projection, what we want to see out of this reality in connection with each other and in conjunction with one another. Okay, so because that is presented to me today, I am coming back to my teachers, my instructors, my ancestors, and I'm saying, I'm done. Could you grade this? Give me the cut, the grade, the scale, because also I see this new phenomenon. Well, it's actually not new, it's been going on for a minute, but there's another phenomenon happening where many people are taking the knowledge and using the knowledge, and they're not even saying at all where the wellspring of the knowledge is coming from. So what that's causing is people to misquote me, only get parts of information and not have the whole opus of the situation. So it's important for those that are sharing the information to just, drop a little hashtag or something and say, hey, this is where this is coming from. Also for you major YouTube guru channels that are doing some massive stuff, if you want to do some collabs, and get some real Q&A going on, especially about this, and really, taking this into another stage of being a presentation for humanity is open source spirituality to what we know. so we can stand on that, because that's all you can stand on. You can't stand on what you believe. Beliefs are so airy. You know, it's great to have them. They're like dreams themselves, but you wake, and if you die in a dream, right, you're about to get just blown away, or you're in a situation that you don't want to be in. Aren't you so glad to wake up? So that split in realms actually allows us to create a whole level of information and then prep another field, literally prep another field for our entrance into that field. That's what we're doing. We're here this life to prepare our next phase. We are architects, we are builders, but we're building what? What do you build first as an architect? Your own home. So this is about building your own home, but you need to know the geometry. You need to know what these arcs and all these degrees do. Or else you end up building something that you don't like to live in. And that's what most people are susceptible to right now. They are living in a life that they do not like to live in on a continuous basis. And it's because they're imbalanced. So we're going to talk about how these imbalances occur and what has happened to our mother, what has happened to mommy, what has happened to the womb. We're going to talk about some stuff that is so deep in the occult that most of the people that are deep in the occult probably don't even know this. It just didn't actually put itself together that way, because generally they're blind in one eye, meaning that one side of the brain or one side of their male or feminine force is imbalanced or off or dysfunctional, so they cannot allow the sacred marriage to take place, which reveals this to you early in the morning. I got tons of stuff to do. I have to, first of all, dial in tons of stuff with the network and actually getting the upgrades together. I have to do a lot of technical things. I have to set out templates. I have to look for fonts. I have to work with emails. I got to do typography. I got a lot of stuff, because I know we can accomplish this. And I put those responsibilities there because they get me up in the morning. They don't even allow me to sleep. They have me seeing the purpose of this experience. And more importantly, because those that they don't look at taking on others' problems as a joy. You know, like if you like to be challenged, I take on other people's problems. I'm straight, to be honest. You know, I just want to assist others. So I got to look into what is the quantum level of what we're dealing with here. Okay, so now I figure it's breathing. I figure that everybody that is going to be in, because we're only about a few minutes in, is going to be in. So we're going to now go into this. So here we go. So here's what it is. So just recently I put forth a video that talks deep about how I believe personally and know for myself, because it's a belief to you because you have to believe it. It's a knowing to me that this planet is in fact an illusion. It is a refraction of light, a refraction of the original. Okay, I just want us to always keep in mind the original. All right, so that original self is so powerful. That's the collection of all of us, okay? That even when you just make a copy of it, a duplicate, an image, okay? Making it in the image, bringing down the light, bringing down the star. Even when you do that, it creates an animation, just like in the movies. And then everyone takes on scripts and characters, and then they also think it's so real. And just like even the TV today, like notice how like I'm a spheric being, okay? Like I'm gaseous, right? I move all around, but I also have a light body that pierces and beams with rays. I have both of those. Also, I want to say, welcome Chinese man, welcome black man, welcome white man, welcome Asian man or Hispanic man, all these weird words that we've given ourselves. Welcome to this conversation of how you figure out, man and woman, all you races, all you racists, how to get it back together. Like meaning talking to that aspect of yourself, because everybody has that going on, and anybody is judgment. It's not just, you're being blinded by something that you can't even really see. This is judgment day where everybody attempts to judge each other. And I said, you also need to be careful, because, you know, you got to hope people like Peter Thiel, you know, Elon Musk's friend, is actually maybe going to not create a real Terminator scenario in this planet, that it will go in a different direction, meaning a real judgment day. These people have all your data. They have how you move. They have how you talk. They have everything you did, everything you've seen, everything you looked at on the web, everything you text her, everything you text him. They have all of that, and they have it under a neural network that can see it all and recount it all faster than you can, because you're not utilizing your power and you're not being responsible for the things that you're doing. You're just doing them. So hopefully that just gets all deleted or it becomes, when you go get a job, this company, because it's connected in with all the companies, because all the companies are connected, they look at it and it just says a score, and it says, you only come work in this department right now because, you know, Judgment Day, everything that you did, did you do it, sir? You put your fingerprint on the phone, sir. You know, you did your writing on the phone and you identified yourself as the one doing this, sir. We have pictures, sir. This is you, sir. So if you don't want to see, because that's a probable future. If that's what we crunch numbers all day, we are mathematicians. We created this. So of course you would see how all those peas in the pot would be going together, the neural link networks, and man being able to sit into that system like a cerebro, into a neural network mainframe where everybody's information to be able to, let me try to feel what it's like to be God. What it feels like to be God is just to wake up and to be here with your women, with your children, with your ancestors, and with each other. That's the height of it, and we miss that. So we're going to get that. So here's how it works. So in the ancient times, okay, because we come from the stars, like we're infinite. So there was an idea to create a finite, an actual yin-yang combustion sphere that would allow us to live into lower densities and experience lower densities, but then of course still be tethered to our highness. So that way we know we could go into deeper levels of explorations. Because this is deep divers, okay? Loving it, agreeing with it, it's running. So this is what a deep diver vessel looks like just in one tradition, okay? One tradition. Now notice the only difference that I've done here is I've either given it a curve or a straight line, but other than that, these two designs are exactly the same, okay? That's how it works. So this is the original design of the portal, and this is why. Now, out there, you have a pretty good design of the ancient knowledge just there in stone, okay? And I was talking about this the other day because I was on it a little bit. And I just had to keep dialing it in about how this thing is a refractor in that it actually, and I've been talking about this for a while, but this is a reincarnation station, I was calling it. Okay, and they just released, you know, scientifically, we just released, and it's because they just keep baiting us with our own knowledge. You know, here's some of your own self, and because they know all of this, it's already encoded. It was there for all of us. Okay, so let me let it breathe for a second, and let me check it, because we can't have no disconnected. All right, somebody in the chat room say you can hear it sounds good, whatever, or it's too low, or say something. You know, y'all in there, y'all must be focusing and paying attention. Great, not a lot of stuff going on in the chat. But just somebody say, okay, yeah, I can hear it. It's working. Man, that thing has a slow stream. Look at that. It's still nobody has said anything yet. You just need to type in the chat, yes, I can hear it. All right, so that just lets me know how far behind the stream is also. Thanks. Stream, you know, hope I got to play back stuff back, make sure that was what I said in these days that we're living in with AI running around trying to, you know, do something, just be involved. So notice this, okay? So how this works is this, they just released to everyone, so you could go and look at the news. It's actually on the Secret Energy side. Download the app. That they figured out that the pyramid has these electromagnetic properties anyway. That when the sun hits it, it becomes basically a power station. It's the people that have been playing around with Oregon forever know about, right? And it creates, you know, they're still not going to release. It creates a 0-point field. A 0-point field is actually like in between. It's like a gap right there. And it's basically in between worlds. And right there in that gap, in the vacuum, etc., that's where life comes from. They've already told you that, okay? So in the pyramid, it has that same kind of thing, right? It has like that chamber. And then there's this point, and then the light goes in. They've already showed you the shaft. but they don't know what it is. It's a projector. Okay? Massive. Bringing down the stars, that be you. But see, now how this works also, because things are flipped inside out. This is why flat earthers can't figure out where they are. They're all pissed off. Things are flipped inside out. So things don't actually come from the outside. They're right about that. They actually come from the inside. So everything just comes from the inside out, right? We're birthed from the internal parts of the planet. So remember that if the internal part of the planet, in this case, is sitting, one of the internal veins is sitting in here, this would be the bottom apex of the pyramid, okay? So this would be like the tip, really the tip of a male's penis. It has a certain fire, and that is like an electron, an L, and then boom, from that light that's coming in, it animates it, and then boom, we got life. Okay, that's it. Like, even to be the human on the earth that tells everybody that directly, even if people don't get the ramification of exactly what I'm saying right now, it's only going to be another year before exactly what I'm saying becomes common known, just commonplace. Now I'm not just going to give you that. I'm going to give you the next stage. I'm going to give you the next stage, okay? Because when you see this kind of system, and that's why it's important to know this kind of stuff, because it doesn't just, some people just, they just looking at the pyramids now. They're like just trying to figure out the pyramids, and there's all these secret societies and all that kind of stuff, and they've inverted the pyramid. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but they're just going to look to this, and they're not going to realize that, well, wait a minute though, but there's other traditions. And in these traditions, they have other symbols, right? Like this dome, okay? Like in the Islamic tradition, everything is domed out, right? And then there's another dome underneath, right? So that's actually their reincarnation station. Okay, now I'm going to dig into this really deep, because I'm going to show you how this not only is the body, it's like creating, I could say it's artificial because it's still built. Anything that is like the built or a copy is generally known as the artificial. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have power. It doesn't mean that it can't move. We're not talking about any of that. But many of these words actually tell us, before I do this, many of these words tell us what they are. So let's say, for instance, we're going to try to decode hieroglyphs. For one moment, it's like, okay, let me try to crack these glyphs through just this word pyramid, right? Let's just crack this glyph called pyramid. When I pull it apart, it says pi-ra-mid, okay? Now, any occultist knows what these words mean. The connection between pi and phi and fire, okay? Let me clear my board. Slow it down a little bit. This is not necessarily going to be a 10-minute one, but I'm going to get it done as fast as possible. Pi, phi, fire, okay? I just call it fire, okay? This is because the humans are always fighting. In all the fleshly forms, fight, meaning that they actually go into conflict. That's why there's an entire conflictive ecosystem that still, they say it's in balance. So it's like a war in balance. That sounds like a war machine, where the combustion of the war is actually causing the turning of the energetic wheel, okay? So this is a pentagram, right? And phi and pi and time are all symbols of the pentagram, okay? This pentagram is also known as the apple, okay? There we have an apple. Why? It's because, obviously, if we talk about years and years and years ago, when you cut an apple in half, there's a concave pyramid inside of the apple, meaning that concave, convex, meaning the edges are bowed, right? So the bowed edges are a symbol of nature, right? The straight line, that's light. That's all that light system, okay? So those bowed edges inside the pentagram, so when they say that they bit the apple, what they're saying is that they bit into the knowledge of phi and the pentagram. So then you got Steve Jobs and Woz. Woz is a staff that the Pharaoh holds in his hand. I mean, do you think that these are real names? Do you think that Flynn from Tron didn't download himself into a world when he was playing out in the same place the Beatles was playing out in India when they came upon this knowledge? You see what I mean? And then from this knowledge, the Temple of Efu encodes a mainframe. It's a mainframe for the projector of the pyramids to project a reality, a balance to where everyone is living as gods and goddesses, or every color of the spectrum is desired. Everyone wants each other around, and this whole system of the energy feeding into each other is everyone giving thanks and giving honoring for all of the light that we are receiving that is keeping the projector running, right? So that's why when this was broken, which is a symbol of the bitten apple, when this was broken and it started coming off the line, it's like Uriel's wheel. Shout out the flights. Breaking down, and now the last, they got parts of the moon. It's a part of it. Like when you look at the moon on DMT with some binoculars, that's how we work. It's like, this is real science. You see the wheel, the machine, the chains moving through it, as this is, it's the heart or part of the machine out there of the projector, right? So when we start getting real power and knowledge, it connects us because we built this. I built this. So why wouldn't I know it? So the thing is that now you can see why it's offline, because now what our ancestors created, and this is everybody, because this is not just pyramids, this is out with the Aztecs. That's all the new brotherhoods that have built all that stuff that you're seeing. Those are on top of sacred geometry, real sacred geometry, bones, okay? Not skull and bones like the societies, but skull and bones like the mummies. Okay, because once you have a system, which is, let's say this is the temple, okay, the template, let me just decode this word for people so it doesn't get confusing. This is the template, because anything that we do, even when I'm, coding or CAD or whatever, man, if I could just get a good template first, because the basic stuff is like, oh, it could take a long time to get a dot or to get a line spacing or something to where it looks visually correct. So a template that's already got that set is great, and then we could build on it from there. So this was just basically a template. The bodies and the humans, they're templates and best copies, all with the same potential, but also with different refractions. So that it's like rolling the dice. Like maybe it wasn't everybody in your family, but for some reason you got something going on. It's weird. This is where it's coming from. It's coming from the womb. So what happens here with this body, okay? And I gotta, because this is a hermaphrodite. Okay, I'm not drawing a man or a woman here. I'm drawing a hermaphrodite. They still exist. So it's not something that we can just deny and say, that's all off. No, they're even cephalopods. They can produce themselves. So this is a system. It can produce itself, right? That's why where does nothing come from? Self-production. If I got you any closer with words. But this self-production system, i.e. the portal, is what we had, and we had constructed physical versions of what goes on also physically with the body, okay? And this is what also puts you onto the real order, okay? Because to be original, you need to know the order. When the organics, notice all these words, ore means gold. When the organics built this entire realm, they built it on flesh. It's like they work with smokeless fire. They pierce without leaving a cut line. All these different kind of levels of power, which is us. That's how it was originally built. Okay, and then when we started taking it apart, when we divided it or dissected it, okay, this means that we literally split man from woman. Hello. You see, that's the point. That's why most countries are divided north from south, right? North Korea, South Korea, North Vietnam, South Vietnam, north side, south side, east side, west side, right? Like all the gangs, the Crips, that's the dead bodies, the blood, that's the blood supposed to run through the dead bodies, split it up. You see what I mean? So everything is a red team versus blue team. We already know that, right? Red pill, blue pill, right? However, people don't get that on a macro level. Like if people got what I'm saying in this video, they would stop fighting with each other right now. They'd be like, yo, it's done, yo, I'm done. I don't want any parts of that. Because the moment that we turn it around, it's going to go in another direction. I don't need no backup plan. I don't need to come back to a world. I don't need to understand reincarnation. All I need to do is get with the balance in myself right now, and that will unlock the fire inside of me. But has it been torn down? Absolutely. Has the tower been destroyed? Absolutely. So let's talk about how it's been destroyed, because I'm going in. I'm done here. Okay, so the tower gets destroyed because this stuff that they're writing you in the Bible has not taken place so long ago like you think. It just doesn't take but a couple hundred years to wipe out an entire mainframe of people's consciousness if their portals are not connected. Like if you got something sitting on top of a person's portal or church or reproductive center or temple, okay, and then that is actually what you're controlling and you're dictating. That's why I said the problem is with the gods. And who is the god? Good. Man, okay, look. Even for the Germanic people, you need to understand that when they built those churches on your land, this same worldwide plan that's not working. These people originally got together to try to restore and build Earth and became the people that are actually destroying it. Okay, it happens. And it's because they took the knowledge and they didn't want to get it knowledge to everybody else because they thought the knowledge was so powerful once they discovered the bombs. You know, it's like you take the implosion part of the Kundalini that's in the not the Bhagavad Gita, the Vimana Shastras and all these different books that talk about how you implode this system, like how you basically go back in. Like since we can create this external birth, like an external child, they create the Immaculate Conception of the Golden Lotus, which was like how to go into a deeper aspect and resource within yourself and then quirk and then generate. It's like basically your energy spins in the opposite direction, generate another life form from into the other world, right? So that's why this is turned inside out. It's a tesseract. Just like they say the cross, and let me just bounce it out here in a minute. This is only for the connoisseurs. The cross is the tesseract. It's inside out. It's us flipped inside out. Even the woman, the genitals are just flipped inside out. Man's genitals flipped inside out. They say the symbols of the ancestors, they be the most closest to the genitalia. This vesica and that pole, that beam of light, or the serpent, as they say, the rod, which is the male penis. So this is like, okay, wow, we got something big happening here. This is what you should expect, though. When you think about the sheer complexity of you at night, sometimes thinking to yourself like, what's going on? Or all of that complexity that happens, you had to expect that when you got to finally some of the conclusions or the reasons why, it was going to be something to the tune of this. Meaning as far as how it's just like, man, I need to connect with this. I need to ground with this. I need to understand this. I don't feel like I know this. Some people, they totally get it. They're spinning out of control with it right now because that's what happens. It's like once you get the knowledge, you start realizing, okay, bam, that means that at least for, let's talk about one culture, those in Kemet who had built a powerful refractor out there, you know how this was designed and what exactly was sitting right here. Mummy. Right? Because they were like, oh, well, those are the tombs. Those are the tombs. They're tombs. No, the light beams down through the refraction. Let's say that they say that 7 rays, right? You know, with that hidden 2, right? Creating the 9. Okay, so that comes in, that beam comes in and hits Mummy, right? And then refracts. And then hits down, Mummy hits Daddy, which is the tip of the electron. And then that light moving through, because the light it's everywhere, it's passing through everything. That's what they were trying to find, the God particle, as they call it. It's everywhere. You don't got to go try to find it. It just zaps right here, zoom. And what that looks like on the other side, my great friends, is actually like a light, but a full spectrum light, and also a light that it's like this light, it attracts you. This is what you got to know about this. This light, it attracts you because it's through resonance. This is why they take this into your areas where your deeper ancestors were, because that's where your DNA is. This is why this is out there in the Aztec pyramid, and this is why this is out there. This is in Nubia. You know, this is in the delta or the V or the actual the point to where everything comes out, the womb. And also this is out there in Sweden. This is in Dolomite. Okay, like all these mountains and ranges, that's the natural forms. And then where you got in these areas, you got people who've gone in there and they've constructed this system. Now let's talk about this system, right? This system is upside down, right? This system throws a man off. This system keeps one from ascending. This system that they design because they give you half, right? So these are the symbols, right? These are the symbols. These are how the symbols are supposed to be in the highest level of knowledge. To balance them, you see what I mean? This stays balanced by itself. That's what the knowledge would be. And then when you build a temple back in the old days, because we keep trying to connect sometimes the ancestors with this because they have taken the ancestors' knowledge. It's always confused the hell out of me. I've been like, shit, I got to let go of everybody then. That's kind of how it happens, even with you and your family, if you think about it. It's like, I don't know where it's coming from and who started it, but it's affecting everybody. I got to seal the canister, guys. I got to seal the canister and figure out how to actually put in a real antivirus to the situation that's happening in there. Like I used to have visions of being on a ship and then being locked in a stronghold and then people beating on the door that had gone like ravenous and the whole damn ship was infected. Maybe it came from one of the Hollywood movies, but still, it could actually be like that sometime when you're looking at your own blood. And this is everybody. We're all light. That's why we breathe the same color. In most cases. But the thing is that when you look at that light and you see that connection, you looked at it with love. That's why they're saying love and light. And they lost what the meaning of that was because everybody just kept trying to figure it out and never stepping back for a moment because they're stuck in time. Because this is what happens when you turn a system of ancient people on its head. Last thing. Something like this then will become like this, which is this. This is time. It's not real. This is why the queen and all of them, they wear this sign. Like, as an alchemist, we know this sign because this is when we open up the vacuum of time. When we go to the gap, it looks like this. I can show you videos. This is the top of the pyramid, okay? This is the time machine. It's infinity, a concept of infinity, a machination that runs on yin and yang, black and white, Chinese, Korean. Man. This is why we fight. It's encoded in the pyramid. It's how the body is formed. A phi-based life form, but we are not the body. When they said, let us make man in our own image, that was after a couple times of us being stepped on, replicated, duplicated as the original. To only find out we let this be done. Like they say, you know, they tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. Thank you for getting me here where I need to be. Thank you for putting me into a purpose. Thank you for letting me see the power of infinity in a conception. Like I can conceive infinity as a finite thing. And you do too, and you live it, and you are it. So this is how we escape death. As I said, we will be the first to fly, to take the human body to fly. They think it's crazy. And that's the whole thing. It's all what you think. If you don't think you have a soul, you don't have one. Why would I give you something that you don't know that you have? That's what knowing is. Knowing is acceptance. This is me. You see what I mean? It's like full spectrum light, but you got to let go of the division because if you're divided north and south, right, and you only have that one cross point, that one lineup, then you'll be waiting on the 2012 every day, right? And then you'll never realize that only thing the Mayans were doing was tracking Venus's concave pentagram she traces out in the night sky, 8 and 5, in that procession, right? And they're using Venus as a clock to like, yo, this is what happens when this thing turns in this direction. This is okay. So look, it's resetting. I can see it's resetting. Someone actually really doing some homework because of seeing the obvious, like sand dollars have pentagrams, okay? It's not an occult symbol. Flowers, a lot of flowers, but then there's the hexagram. And this is another thing, last thing for you, 5 and 6. This is all the world is about, baby. Friday night. This is Friday, by the way. Fire's Freya. Okay, she's Venus. She's fire. And then we got 6. Who's sat? Who's sex? 6. SX. Coop. Old cat. You know, come through. Get your girl on Saturday. Like, she's outside. This is Venus. It's hot. Like, you got to think about what is in we're living it. This is why if you want to know, well, where's the knowledge? Or they're hiding the knowledge. No, you're hiding from yourself. This is what's happening. 5 and 6, it's encoded in the streets of Washington. It's just inverted, though. You will have to know what true north or true north is. You see? So you got to know these directions. You got to know where you're at. You got to do your own ma'at. Okay, so you saw it here first, or maybe you're having deja vu. You left something with me, now I give it to you. The truth is that we are all together in this. Whatever happens, we're going to experience it continuously. Something happened when I went through this massive experience. I saw all of this that I'm experiencing right now. I saw it all. And all of it I felt could get done. There was one part, though, in the end that I thought I think you turned some wheels then. I think, yeah, maybe that part of catharsism or, you know, whatever, stigmata, whatever happened, maybe that was going on. And what you saw in that vision was a little bit inaccurate. And I'll give it that, because I'm not like in this trying to make improper balances. I'm trying to do my act. What is it? So I could just live as the original. That's it. And man, what I saw was something happened. There was something that we did, and it changed everything. It changed the entire world. And I saw it as clear as day. I saw the whole world, like it could have been an astral projection. I don't care. But the whole world had come into the recognition of something because of something we did. I feel like personally, because this is only the beginning, I can reproduce this in a room. I can produce this in a vacuum. This is none other than hermetic knowledge, as they will call it, which is really Hermes and Aphrodite. And we talked about this in InterVersity. If you haven't gotten into InterVersity, get into InterVersity, get into yourself. InterVersity's Hermes, which is really a brotherhood, actually sell bags now, and Aphrodite, right? The original Aphrodite, okay, is a hermaphrodite, okay? That's like why they were seeing like some of the pharaohs, they seem to be pregnant, right? And then you go in the deeper tradition, this is like, yo, why y'all even like, yeah, that God over there, he's got a womb. He's actually not just a he, he's a she. They're together. And they always draw them in the picture that they're connected. They're not just trying to be perverted and show you sexual symbols. They're like, no, these guys are like, there's even like a tri-connection too. There's a being that is already balanced, hooks up with 2 beings that are completely their pole, and then balance them both out and lives as that existence. Like, this is crunk. That's what I'm saying. Let's get into this, get into self. So let me look through this very briefly, make sure I covered everything. Like, subscribe, whatever. This will make it to YouTube. I got a professional copy. If this wasn't over 20 minutes, probably the last part would be a little crunchy. I just want to say that we're doing it, like we're making it happen, like there's no excuses, that there's a lot of responsibilities, and I'm looking to create consistently the right type of throughputs for us all to communicate and for others to communicate with each other. We're doing that the best we can. We have these chats, we have secret energy, we have a cosmic calendar. Links will generally be wherever this video is found later on to jump into that. We're live at Ambassador Training. I'm going to personally work to commit to 1 day out of the week of doing a live Q&A on Facebook so we can start getting some dialogue going on here. And, you know, at the end of the day, though, or at the beginning, depending upon where you're standing at in the pantheism, you can really answer all questions with just this knowledge, to be honest. This is the template of Earth. Even the 5 and 6, some people are like, well, what about Mercury? Or what about Jupiter? And what about, look, it's a time and a place for everything. And I'm telling you, 6 right now, 5 and 6, which is 11, giving you that time code. This is the mainframe, 5, 6, 11, 11, going into the 22. This is the finishing of the mastery of the cycles. This is now the dawn of the sixth sun about to happen. And at this point, we supposedly discover ourselves because we take the mirror and then we shatter it. We realize that that's us. So that breaks the division. It breaks down. If you don't want to die, which means to divide. If you do not want to die, okay, I can crack death for you. I've cracked death. And I've experienced this in real life. And I'm back here again. It's like, hey, guys, but it's not going to be the same if we all don't do it, or large numbers of us don't do it. Okay, so meaning the death process is the divider. It is the D. This is the D, okay? This is a divider, and what it does, just like why all the D words in devil and divide and despicable and diabolical, and why all those D words actually create that kind of energy, is because it just cuts things off. It's what cuts north from south, okay? And then when you have that division going on in the body, and then you don't have a balanced kingdom, and then you got wars going on where those from the north or those from the south, this is your energy, are trying to get to the north. Notice how you got a lot of people in the south of the world right now, they're trying to get to the north. They need the energy from the north, and then they go back to where they come from, right? Because think about it, like when you get to the north, after a while, you're like, man, I'm about to go back to the motherland because this is ridiculous. That's why I come to Costa Rica. This is my mother. Like I come in like, because you need the healing. But that cycle of knowing that, you need to experience the fire, right? Ubermensch, overcome, go to the north. Or the north, there's nothing, only cedars, just trees. You know what I mean? It's just like go and overcome and then go into the center, find your mother. This is their quest. Okay, go find your mother and then go regenerate yourself and then come back out the womb again. And then, you'll see that the sun will burn from within, which will reflect on the outside color of the skin. Like the reality of all of this is we have this opportunity to connect the entire band. Okay, the band, like Elijah Ray, the band of light, right? That band of light, that whole spectrum, that's what we're talking about. And I know you want it. I want it. We love it. It creates the orgasm for us. That's what it is. Like, subscribe, do your thing. I'll talk to you soon. Wholeness.